Misery is manifold. The wretchedness of earth is multiform. How is it that from beauty I have derived a type of unloveliness? From the covenant of peace, a simile of sorrow. But thus it is, and out of joy is sorrow born. I have a tale to tell, in its own essence, rife with horror. Berenice and I, ill of health and buried in gloom, mind the studies of the library. I, living within my own heart and addicted, body and soul, to the most intense and painful meditation. She, agile, graceful, and overflowing with energy. Hers the ramble on the hillside. She, roaming carelessly through life, with no thought of the shadows in her path. Berenice. Ah, vividly is her image before me now, and then a tale which should not be told. Disease, a fatal disease, fell upon her, and the victim, I knew her no longer as Berenice. During the brightest days of her unparalleled beauty, most surely I had never loved her. Feelings with me had never been of the heart. My passions always were of the mind. I knew that she had loved me long, and in an evil moment I spoke to her of marriage. Her disease caused in Berenice moments when she fell into a trance very nearly resembling death itself. In the meantime, my own disease, for I had been told I should call it nothing else, my own disease grew. I fell into deep concentration, focusing the deepest attention on the most minute of details, even the most common objects, for hours upon hours. During these periods, I could become absorbed for the better part of a day, focused on the typography of a book, or lose myself for an entire night in watching the steady flame of a candle. On one of those unseasonably warm, calm, and misty days, I sat, alone I thought, in the library. But uplifting my eyes, Berenice stood before me. She spoke no word, and I could not have uttered a syllable. An icy chill ran through my frame. A consuming curiosity pervaded my soul, and sinking back upon the chair, I remained for some time, motionless, and with my eyes riveted upon her. Her disease had changed her, with not one vestige of the former Berenice. My glances at length fell upon her face. The teeth. The teeth. I kept thinking of them. They were here and there and everywhere. Long, narrow, and excessively white. I had no thoughts but for the teeth. All other matters and all different interests became absorbed in their single contemplation. I held them in every light. I turned them. I surveyed their characteristics. And the darkness came and went, and the day again dawned, and the mists of a second night were now gathering around, and still I sat in that solitary room, and still I sat buried in meditation, and still the phantasm of the teeth maintained its terrible grip on my mental eye. And then I heard the news. Berenice was no more. She had fallen dead in the early morning, and now, at the closing in of the night, the grave was being prepared. God of heaven, is it possible? I had Berenice buried that night. I returned to my studies, but something, some memory, plagued me. What was it? And then I learned Berenice had been buried alive, and yet I knew. And her grave had been disturbed. What was this memory?